Hello students, this is Mrs. K. We're here today to discuss our iMaths investigation called Score a Duck. Okay, so in this iMaths investigation, we're going to be doing what we're usually doing. We're going to use our maths to help us solve a really interesting question. So first we have to understand what the question is about. We have to think about what kinds of things we might need to do in order to be able to solve that question. And then we have to go and grab that information or learn the information that we need, and then do all of that thinking and working out and writing things down to actually come to a great answer. So first of all, you're going to need your investigation pages, Score a Duck, pages 1 and 2. And as well as that, I should put this way around perhaps, yes. Okay, and as well as that, just as we look along the top of the page, we can see the kinds of things that we're going to need. Over here on page 2, it always has our materials listed. We need internet access. We need our paper. We need a pair of compasses. Okay, so you're going to have to find a pair of compasses, and you're going to need a pencil. So all of these things will be useful and helpful to you. Now don't worry, you don't have to have all of them this very minute. They'll actually be what you will use over the 3 weeks that you do this investigation. Okay, so we've got some time to work with it all. So no panics. Well, today we'll just be understanding what the question is about. So you'll need your iMaths investigation plan, because that's always your first activity. Once you've read through the investigation and you understand it, then you start writing up your investigation plan. And the last thing that you definitely want to always have on hand at the start is your rubric page. Now remember what a rubric is for. That helps you to understand how the investigation will be scored. Now investigations are independent work. So yes, you're going to talk to the people in your life for sure, but the work that you do on the investigation must be your own. Okay? Now what you can do, you can talk to me, you can write me an email, you can phone, you can even drop in if you live really nearby, and I'll be really happy to help you out. But of course we want to make sure that you're the one doing the work, okay? So I'm sure that your home tutor will help you to understand what's happening in this investigation, but even perhaps the best help for you would be by watching the videos that I make about each investigation. I really like to explain it so that you're not left wondering what on earth is going on. But yes, they're going to make you scratch your head. You're going to have to think, you're going to have to work really hard to understand, because that's the kind of thing this is. This is real life sort of stuff. So it takes a bit of working and thinking, but I have every confidence you'll be able to do it. Okay, so this one on the rubric, it's telling us, you'll see over here under A, you'll always see this word independently. You really can't get an A on your investigations unless you're doing some work independently. Independently do this. Okay, so some different things here. So please make sure that, especially for this bottom section, the reasoning part where you're justifying, where you're giving logical and detailed reasons, where you're using your data to make good arguments, that needs to be your work. There's no point in me marking your mum on her work. Your mum's not enrolled in this year, in year 5. You are. So let's go on with what we're going to actually do in the Score a Duck investigation. Reading from this page. So if you've got that page out in front of you, you've got the picture of the girl with the snorkel, you've got the ducks. Let's see what it says about ducks. It says, you are the operator of a duck game in a Sideshow Alley. So if you've ever been to a show and you've seen a duck game in Sideshow Alley, or you've seen all sorts of different games, you see games where they've got little sandbags and you chuck them at the tennis balls, or at the tins, that's right, sorry. So it might be a tennis ball, or it might be a sandbag, and they'll have tins stacked up and you chuck them and you try to knock over the pile of tins. Or you've got ones that are sort of like a shooting gallery, or you've got ones with the clowns going, and you put a ping pong ball in the clown's mouth and try to get it at the right minute so it'll go down into one of these little slots. Okay, you are the operator of a duck game in Sideshow Alley. You have been allocated a 5 metre by 5 metre space for your game. Okay, so you've got a space to put your game in. To play your game, a person must catch one duck from a rectangular pond using a fishing instrument. Each duck has a number hidden underneath it, which corresponds to a prize. So if you pick up a duck and it's got a number 24, you'd look up on the board, and on the board it says 24, and there's what prize you get if you've got a 24. Okay? So you understand how the game works. So you will need to decide the size of the pond and the length of the fishing instrument. People won't play unless there is a reasonable chance of winning the top shelf prize. Because when you go, do you want like a little plastic frog or something that just sits in your hand and doesn't do anything? Or would you like to get, you know, the great big stuffed giraffe or something, you know, like who knows what that top prize might be. But mostly we want to get that one. So people won't play unless they've got a pretty good chance, a reasonable chance of winning the top shelf prize. However, you will lose money if it's too easy to get a winning number. So you don't want everyone to win the top shelf prize. It's going to cost you too much money and you won't make any money out of it. They only pay maybe $2 to play the game. And then if that top shelf prize costs you $20 and everyone pays $2, but they all get $20 prize, you're not going to make any money. You're going to lose money. You won't be able to be in business anymore. Create a prize list showing the numbers needed to win a top shelf prize, down to the numbers needed to win the hard luck prizes. Some numbers may give no prize at all. So you have to think about how you will design this game. Right, so you're going to need to decide the size of the pond and the length of the fishing instrument. And then you need a prize list showing the numbers needed to win a top shelf prize down to numbers needed to win the hard luck prizes. Some numbers may give no prize at all. Okay, so that's the question. We've just read the question. Okay, so a couple of things there that you're going to need to do. You're going to need to now think, what kinds of, well, first of all, what is that question? Now you can read it through, read it aloud, think about it some more and decide what you are asked to do. There's no point doing something that's not what we were even asked to do, is there? I mean, if instead of doing this, if you just decide to make lots of little ducks and paint them different colours, you're not even doing the investigation. You're having a lot of fun, making little paper mache ducks and painting them different colours, but you have not done your maths work. So you've got to make sure that you understand the question before you start, and then that you actually follow the instructions and do what you were asked to do. That's one of the ways that you can make sure that you're more likely to get results here in the A column and not over here in the D or the E column. Because if you just don't do it, well, that won't make sense at all, will it? Okay, so you need to know what kinds of things you're going to need to understand, and you're going to need to be able to fill in your investigation plan. Before you start the investigation, it tells me, you will need to know these things. And these are things that we've been learning this year and also that are in your topics pages when you see your iMaths topics pages for the Score a Duck investigation. NA 13, equivalent fractions. NA 26, patterns and general rules. MG 4, perimeter of rectangles. SP 1, probability. SP 2, interpreting data. So those are the topic pages that you will have in your book, and you'll be able to work through those, and you'll be able to have a look at them and make sure that you're really understanding what's happening. And also the work that you do in our other maths will help you with this as well. So now, understanding the investigation. 1, read and plan. So that's the one that we're working on today. 1, read and plan. Make sure that you understand the meanings of operator, the operator of a sideshow, of a game, of a duck game. The operator, you are the operator of a duck game in Sideshow Alley. What's the operator of the game? Duck game. Make sure you understand, what do we mean by duck game? If you didn't understand, you could go back and read some more about, or listen again to what I said about the duck game. Sideshow Alley. What is Sideshow Alley? If you're not sure, you could go back to listen to what I've said. You could talk to parents. You can interview your parents to find out some of these things. That is definitely allowed. Reasonable. Reasonable. If something is reasonable, a reasonable chance, what does that mean? What's a reasonable chance? Okay. What about top shelf prize? What's a top shelf prize? Hard luck prize. What's the hard luck prize? I'll give you a clue. It might also be called the consolation prize. Corresponds. Corresponds? What does that mean? Corresponds. If the number that's under the duck corresponds to one of the prizes on the shelf. What does that mean? Okay. Advantage. Advantage. What's an advantage? If you've got an advantage, what does that mean? Allocated, if something is allocated to someone, what does that mean? Or if a number is allocated to a duck, what do we mean by that? Instrument, what's an instrument? There's a number of different ways we use that word instrument, but how are we using instrument in this investigation? What do we mean when we say that you will need to decide the size of the pond and the length of the fishing instrument? So you're going to need to think about that. What does that mean? The length of the fishing instrument. Okay, so you need to read and understand those words. You need to read and discuss the rubric. You need to read this through, and this is a good time to talk to your home tutor. Talk to them about the rubric. What's happening in here? What does it mean? What do I need to do by myself? What can I get help with? What kinds of things will I need to be good at if I want to get the A's in my investigation and not E's in my investigation? How can I help myself do well at this investigation? Okay. And now you need to download your investigation plan, which we've already talked about. Download this investigation plan, or in your case, it will be in your folder because I like to help you out. I'll put it in your folder. And now read through it and follow what it asks you to do. This will help you to organise and understand the investigation. Okay, so that gives you a whole lot of work that you can go ahead with. Have fun working out this investigation. Don't forget to do those concept pages. I know the investigations are interesting, but there's no point jumping in to do an investigation unless you're sure that you know these concepts. So do the other maths work that we give you and do the concept pages for iMaths that go along with this. So the NA13 equivalent fractions, the NA26 patterns and general rules, the MG4 perimeter of rectangles, etc., etc. Make sure that you make the most of your opportunities to learn about the concept so that then you will be able to do the investigation itself. Okay, look, it's been great talking to you. We'll catch up again really soon so that I can help you learn about what to do in step 2. Bye, everybody.